Hi, my name is Gordy Knudtson. The purpose of this video is to show you some similarities and differences that exist between two multi-note stroke techniques. One technique is called open-close technique, also known as push-pull, drop-squeeze, drop-snap technique. The other is known as the Moeller technique or the whipping technique. One fundamental difference between the techniques is the body structures that we use to play them. Open-close technique uses wrist, hand, and fingers positioned near the snare drum to produce this kind of a movement. Moeller technique engages more of the arm, either the forearm or the upper arm, in a whipping motion, like this if you're using the upper arm, or like this if you're just using the forearm. But there's a whipping motion. Obviously, the first thing you can see before I even put a stick in my hand is that this technique of the whip is going to be significantly louder than this technique where my wrist is parked near the snare drum, moving like this. So Moeller technique is going to be louder than open-close technique. Both techniques use ergonomic body movements to produce multi-note strokes from the drum. A multi-note stroke is described as a technique that would allow the tip of the stick to strike the drum head more than once during one complete movement cycle. If we look at open-close technique first, there are three basic movements we use for the open-close technique. We have an open movement where the hand kind of drops open. There's down into what you could call it finger position, which we can play finger strokes down here as much as we want, and then closes to come up out of the finger control position. So, for example, an open-close two-note stroke would look like this. Close, open, close, open, close, open, close. Some people refer to the open stroke as the free stroke. I call it the open stroke because I want to get the second note from that movement when I close my hand. To get three notes in the open-close technique, we will use the fingers to play a finger stroke in between the open and the close movement. So it becomes open, fingers, close, or open, bounce, close, open, bounce, close. Two-note stroke again, open, close, open, close. There are two basic modes which apply to both techniques. You can use their multi-note strokes in the following manner: as standalone or separate mode, where there's a space between recycling a hand. There's a two-note stroke in open-close technique. Or continuous mode, where there's no space, it just is a continuous cycling. Three-note strokes in open-close technique look like this: separate mode, continuous mode. Okay? Now let's look at the Moeller side of this. Moeller technique, for some reason, is always taught the following way, which is an accented whip stroke followed by either an up, if you're going to do a two-note stroke, or a tap and then an up before the next whip. For example, a two-note Moeller stroke looks like this: down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? A three-note stroke, we would put a tap in between the down and the up stroke, as we did when we were playing open-close, and that looks like this: down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up. The key to making Moeller work is to have the tip of the stick remain close to the drum after you play this loud accent. In a Moeller two-note stroke, we then use the upstroke. If we lift from our wrist, this action lets the stick touch the head on the way up, going into our downstroke. And that's how we get a free note. You may see this movement made by trap set players playing their hi-hat. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Again, we're getting 2 notes for 1 movement cycle of the hand. The 3-note Moeller stroke, down, tap, up, 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 down, tap. Okay, it looks like that. Both of which I just showed you were continuous mode, 2-note and 3-note stroke Moeller. Look what happens when we use that sequence in separate mode. If I look at a 2-note stroke Moeller in separate mode, down, up, I'm stopping in this sequence. I have to stop halfway through the whip before I'm completely out of position to play anything on the snare drum. So if we flip them, we put the upstroke first, ending on the downstroke, it makes more sense in separate mode. For example, up, down. Now I can sit here ready to play, or wait before I play, or whatever I want to do. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Same thing with the 3-note stroke. We go tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down. So in a way, you could say the other difference between the two techniques is that OpenClose has a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up movement, whereas Moeller has an up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. They're backwards. You can combine open and close technique with Moeller in the following way. If we look at the Moeller stroke, played as tap, up, down, with the accent at the end, again, tap, up, down, we can turn those first 2 notes, the tap and the upstroke, into an open-close movement with the hand. So you have open, close, down, open, close, down, open, close, down, open. As in that manner. So there, in a sense, you have it. The 2 fundamental differences between the technique are the volume that each stroke produces. Moeller produces a large sound. Open-close technique produces a small sound. Moeller uses large movements. Open-close technique uses small movements. The other difference is the sequencing of the strokes. The motion is different. For a 2-note open-close, you're going down, up, down, up. For Moeller, you're going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. 3-note stroke, down, tap, up, open-close, down, tap, up, down, tap, up. Moeller, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down. Or open-close, down, open-close, down, open-close, down, open-close, down. And that essentially is the difference between the two.